Hi everyone. I know I haven't put up a lot of video lately, but this is going to be a speed video of my daily sketch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you what I've sketched. This is an hour-long video that was compressed down to pretty much 15 minutes. So I'm going to try to narrate through the video. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a fan art Friday, where every Friday the comic book community, the at Google Plus, we post the fan art challenge for the Monday, and what we do is we try to sketch. And this week is a the Ninja Fire Squirrel of Doom. So what I'm doing is I'm sketching a Ninja Fire Squirrel of Doom. So this is Mischief that you're seeing me I'm drawing with. Right now I'm using my MacBook Pro to sketch this on, and it's running on my Wacom Cintiq tablet. What you're seeing is my initial layout. So what I do is I usually go through and sketch my rough. Usually have an idea what it looks like, pose, try to get some sort of action dynamic. Then maybe I'll just do some cleanup. So as you can see, I just pick some random background and pick the color that might work. So now, as you can see, I'm just going through and I'm going to start inking. Usually in this process, when I'm inking, I usually have some plan or an idea of what the character should look like, where the light's coming from, so that way I can just add more black, less black, details in certain section that I might need or might not need. And so here we go. Okay. I think I'll put some music in the background. I'll find something on YouTube that's free from the YouTube creator stuff, and I'll just play it in. Hopefully it won't be as irritating. So this concept, what you're seeing is I'm just basically every time I do something, I always create a new layer. And so as you can see on the I guess the layer palette on the side there, you'll see layer 1. It's basically my, the pink color or the red color, depending on your monitor. You'll see my outline. I pick some paper texture or background. Then I create a new layer. After I like the shape that I go through, then I start doing the actual sketch right on top of it. It's basically my inking line. So as you can see, as I go through the so I'm speeding up the video. This took about I think the whole video time was about an hour. Just trying to figure out what he's gonna look like and all that stuff. I think he kind of looks like more like a dog and a bunny crossed together, I guess, or something like that. Drawing squirrel. Normally I would just reference something, but I'm just going really fast and loose and just see what happens. As you can see, I'm just adding a lot of black. It's my lazy technique of just placing enough detail in certain areas. So just to trying to create texture from the character where, you know, maybe something draped over it up. That's why you're seeing a lot more black. So he's just giving him more of a armored kind of look. I think the eyes may be too Ninja Turtle-ish, but it's kind of cool. Okay. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have drank those beers. Totally out of it. It's about 1 a.m. in the morning here in Toronto. And it's the only quiet time. The kids are in bed. Wife's in bed. And I'm recording audio for this track. By the way, I did this sometime early in this morning before the kids got up. Got about an hour free time. So here I'm just being lazy, and I just figured I wasn't going to draw his whole body. Then I figured I'd draw him this big fluffy squirrel tail. And again, I'm just filling my blacks in. As you can see from my brush, it's really, I just use the default stuff. I have certain transparency for one or two brush you'll see as I go through them. But depending on the device I work with this Cintiq, my brush size, because of my screen resolution, my brush size is about 10 pixels thick, and that's the second brush from the top, as you can see. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just doing a flat color layer. As you can see, there's a third layer that I created on the right side. I guess I'm painting the squirrel brown orange color. So what I do with this is I normally block out the colors of the characters. So I start with the base flat layer, and if in order to create depth and shadows and stuff like that, what I do is I take the same color and I go up on tonage or hue, I guess. Basically, I make everything lighter or darker using the same color. Then just taking a, I guess like a watercolor brush or transparent brush. The transparency on the brush I like is approximately about, I think 40%, 35-40%, depending on the feel. So what I do with this is, well, right now what you're seeing is a fourth layer, and that's just the cloak there. I guess the clothes and the bandage and stuff like that he has. So as you can see, I'm starting to block layer, then add another layer. Normally I use blue as in for dark stuff, black. If I use gray, then I guess it will be for more silver. So here, for example, I'm just trying to figure out what goes on where. So I'm using gray for the teeth. Then watch, I guess as we get further on, I think it's 9 minutes in. Actually more than 9 minutes, so this is speed painting. So as you can see here, so I created a layer on top of the fur layer, as a brand new layer, and as you can see I go down on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th brush down on Mischief. And the brush size is pretty big, 38, but as you can see, the value below that, or the transparency below that, it's about 40%. I don't know, I found that to be a really nice blend for me. Some people, you can just adjust as you go along, but as you can see, I'm just creating layer, then I go up in tonage. As you can see from my color palette, it gets whiter, 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 whiter. And so sometimes when I'm painting stuff, I start with a dark tone, then I work all the way up to light. What I'm doing is I'm creating depth with this. There you go, as you can see. So it's just random scratches. Then because it's on a separate layer, I can go back, take the if I go over an area or something, I just take the eraser and just erase around it, make sure everything falls into place. Then now I'm just adding highlights, as you can see. It's basically a light, really light green of the same tone going on top, creating more of a a little sheen and stuff like that, so you can see the depth of the character. So normally when you draw characters and stuff like that, just consider where your lights are coming from. If you do film productions or something, you'll end up with like 2 or 3 lights, where you have your main light, you have your key light, your hair light, basically light coming from the sides that gives the character the edge and stuff like that. As you can see here, as I add layer, you'll notice there's a yellow. That's because where the sword is, it's supposed to be flame. So I want that to be a bright white yellowish flame. So I want that yellow to be a cast, so you can actually see where the light's coming from. See, as I go over that same spot, it gets yellow and yellow and yellow. So depending on the flames itself. So I guess now I'm just doing just final key lights for the swords, the katana, the armor. Nose. There we go. Now I'm gonna do the sword. So I usually pick a base, and there's a straight line tool. I draw on that first layer, then I just take a lighter tone of that and I go over top of it. As you can see, I zoom out, of course, give me a bit broader stroke as I get lighter. As you can see here, this is how you do flames, kids. Now I'm just using a airbrush tool, then back to the regular transparent brush. As you can see, it's getting whiter and whiter and whiter. There we go. Then I start erasing around. There you go. Then, because I'm just drawing the character, I don't really have a background. Sometimes I draw some sort of haze and stuff like that, but this time I wanted like some sort of like the rising sun or the setting sun or something like that on this world where this character lives. So as you can see, I go through a bunch of attempt and try different. I think I was trying to maybe a red moon, but I had a red background. So as you can see here, I just fill in that circle, then I use a soft airbrush, brush around to give that moon more of a blur in the background, so that way the character stands out a little bit more. Here, there you go, you can see my transparent brush. So I'm drawing mountains and valleys, some shrubs. Then I tried a dark color and I just didn't like the idea, so I used the erase tool. And you can see I can erase into it, so it gives it that so it looks like this field, grass or something like that he's standing in front of. Then I think this attempt was, I was going to try to put something up front, foreground, to give it a little bit more, but I think it just took away from the actual scene itself, so I deleted it altogether. There we go. So readjusting the scene and putting in my signature, and as you can see, the final image. Have any questions or something like that? Here's the final image. Head over to my Google Plus to actually see it, the breakdown in my sketch collection, and I hope this helps. Okay, questions, just post in the comment and I'll try to explain as much as I can. Thanks everyone. Have a good day or night.